Okay.
All right, looks like we're recording. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining our latest installment of Tech Talk. My name's Keith Rue, and I'm the sales manager for Tech Systems. I'm joined today by my colleagues David Andrews, our marketing and brand director, and Tim Brooks, our director of vendor management. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, Tech Talk is our way of answering our clients' requests to keep them up to date on new and interesting technology out in the marketplace. So we'll be hosting these webinars once a month with vendors that we believe are at the forefront of the security industry. And hopefully you'll get some good information from these webinars. But if you have a particular product or service that you're looking for and haven't seen yet in one of our webinars, go ahead and drop me a line and I'll see what I can do to get them on the schedule. As an added benefit, by registering for these webinars, you'll be given access to the Tech Talk YouTube channel that has all of our videos on there. So this morning, or I'm sorry, this afternoon, second webinar for the day.
Right.
This afternoon, we had the pleasure of hosting the team from Intellicene. Most of us at one time or another have probably gone through a merger or an acquisition and had to deal with multiple differing security systems, whether that be access control, video, intercoms, combination of all the above. And trying to bring these disparate systems together into a usable interface is always a challenge. So that's what the team from Intellicene is here to talk about with us today, their approach to how to deal with that particular challenge. So before we get started, let's just handle some housekeeping. As always, please make sure that you to mute your microphone during the presentation. And while we encourage everybody to turn on their cameras during the intro and the Q&A, it can get a little distracting during the presentation. So go ahead and turn off your cameras during the presentation, and then we can pop them back on at the end. Finally, regarding questions, there'll be time for Q&A at the end. We found that the easiest way to keep track of these questions is just to go ahead and type them into the chat. You'll see a little bubble icon at the top of your screen there for chat. Just go ahead and type questions in there, and we'll keep track of them as we go. So, with the housekeeping out of the way, I'm going to turn it over to Ron, Walter, and Jason from Intellicene. Guys, it's all yours.
Great. Hey, thanks so much, Keith, for having us. And for some of you that have joined us twice, we really appreciate you coming back for a second look from the morning presentation. And my name's Walter Oakton. I'm Director of Sales here in the Southeast and the Midwest. We have Grace Kovaris on here. He's our Chief Solutions Architect. And Ron Douglas, our Senior Director of Sales of North America. I'll give you a quick kind of idea of what we're going to be covering today. We're going to take a deep dive into our Cynthia control platform, which will show you how we can bring disparate systems in your security operations center into a single platform, a single pane of glass. We will just run through a short PowerPoint to kind of give you an overview to digest, what our offering looks like. And then from there, we'll jump into the actual software platform live, and you'll be able to see, us handling alarms and different situations coming in from the disparate systems throughout the U.S. From there, we'll go into a Q&A, and we appreciate everyone jumping on the call. And from that, Ron's going to go ahead and show us the PowerPoint and some of the high level points here on Cynthia. So thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Walter. Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Douglas. I'm a Senior Director of Sales North America for Intellicene. And today I just wanted to first just introduce who Intellicene is. Intellicene, as the name implies, is really a combination of two words, intelligent. So as our systems become more and more intelligent in our security operations centers, and as we have more and more technology that we'd like to introduce to our operations centers, we need to be more intelligent. We need to have more systems that parse information and make sure that information is usable by operators and dispatchers. And the second half of the name scene, really not a scene like you'd see in a camera, but a new era of big data, security data, coming into security operations centers that we need to be able to manage and effectively respond to. So Intellicene, the evolution of our business, really we started back in the 90s. We were Laronix back then from Durango, Colorado. And Laronix was the first manufacturer of a commercially available digital video recording system. Really took a simple video capture card, put some BNCs on it, and that was a digital video recorder back in the days of VHS. So we started back in the business back in the 90s. We've continually evolved and improved our video management platform over the years and grown through acquisition. But most recently, we were acquired by Valeris, and we're now Intellicene. So Intellicene, we're a global company. We have offices all over the world, 10,000 plus customers in key verticals like transportation, energy, mining, manufacturing, government, retail, and even banking. We also have over 5,000 customers internationally with offices in Europe, in Israel, Canada, US, South America, Central America. So a global company, we're providing solutions for customers all over the world in many different verticals. But today we're really going to talk about Cynthia and Cynthia Control. Cynthia is our product name for our portfolio, and it includes things like facial recognition for face detect. It includes our VMS, our enterprise VMS. Connect, which is our engineering group doing integrations for third-party applications. We also have a solution for enterprise monitoring, critical to large enterprises. It allows us to monitor our devices like cameras, our servers, our workstations, connections, quickly access that those devices are online and working. So in any environments where we have a compliancy requirement, rather than having to scroll through hundreds of cameras, we can simply use enterprise monitoring to alert us and let us know if anything is offline. And then Cynthia NowForce, which is the computer-aided dispatch or that last mile component to our software. Under these, you'll see all of the third-party systems that we bring in, that you bring into security operations centers. We bring those into our Cynthia Control platform to make them actionable and associate them with each other so that we can get real-time usable data from these assets in our enterprise. So Cynthia Control is the name of that platform. It's really a foundational layer that allows us to bring in all sorts of third-party systems. It's a tab-based solution, and each of these tabs can be torn off, put on their own monitor. For example, our alarms tab, our mapping tab, a dashboard for supervisors. All of these we're going to see a little bit later on, and we'll show those in a live demo. Some of the integrations that we support, and this is just a few or a handful of some of the common ones, but you'll recognize some of the access control systems like Secure, Honeywell, AMAG, Lenel's OnGuard, third-party alarm systems like DMP and Bosch, Honeywell. We also integrate analytics, both camera analytics that are on the edge or server-side analytics, such as BriefCam and IronYun. Get additional detail out of those for forensic searches. And Agent VI and Cognetics, again, several other analytics engines that we support natively in our control platform. You know, this is a great picture that we had an opportunity to resolve some issues. You can recognize this probably from your experience in security operations centers, where we see many generations of monitors. We see joystick controllers, Post-it notes, clipboards with security operating procedures. Big red phone, and it looks like it's a mile away from this poor guy who's got to respond to all the incidents. An environment like this, it's easy to tell that they could benefit from a foundational system to bring these systems together and help make decisions so that we can respond most effectively. A security operations center like this, which is much more modern, although this looks like it could be the most efficient security operations center, it may have gaps. It may have gaps in security response procedures. You know, you may still see the black binders on the desk where people have to call their SOPs up, especially when there are exceptions that occur that are out of the ordinary or unusual or not common. Here we see monitors with lots of video. Not anybody's watching. Nobody's watching this video. They're simply looking at their own desktops. This information could be used much more effectively by bringing the appropriate assets to an operator or a dispatcher in the event of a critical emergency. The next section of our portfolio that I'll talk about really covers that last mile. And this is our NowForce dispatch and response application. So this is for a responder. This could be your EMT or your firefighter, security officer, who would carry an app on a mobile phone or a tablet. And through this app, they would receive dispatch instructions with checklists. There may be signature fields. There may be areas to take pictures. And each of those security operating procedures are customized to the incident type. This responder can send updates and status. So they've accepted an incident. Here you'll see the next site as they've gone on scene. Once they're on scene, they will be presented with the form to fill out so that they can accurately respond to the incident. They'll have access to other assets, video, images, even floor plans or material safety sheets. They have a push-to-talk component as part of their mobile app. This push-to-talk component allows them to communicate bidirectionally with the dispatcher, and all of those communications are recorded. Integrated SOS. The last part of this mobile app is an SOS button, which a responder can press if they find themselves in a challenging situation. They can put an call for aid, and then their location will show up on the map with a notification to the dispatcher. Another side of the app is a simple personal safety and reporting app. So this app is much more simple. It has a slide button for an SOS. It allows employees, associates, students to simply initiate an SOS when they find themselves in a duress situation. Once they initiate the SOS, their device will start streaming audio and video back to the dispatcher, much like a body cam. It'll share their location so that the dispatcher will know their exact location where the incident is occurring. They'll immediately open a chat. The nice thing about the chat is there's no audible that occurs on the phone. If heaven forbid there was, say, an active shooter in your shelter or hiding in place, you've now opened a chat session. You can communicate with the dispatcher. Your microphone and your camera are active. Your location is being transmitted. So now your employees, students, associates can have the luxury of having an SOS button right in their pocket. This app can also be used for mass messaging. So in the event that the dispatcher needs to notify these employees or students of an issue or an incident or be on the lookout, that can be done immediately through the control client. The last part, which I won't spend too much time on, is our video management system. As I mentioned, this has been evolving and improving over the past 25 years. Enterprise video management is a component or a plugin to our control platform. And although we integrate many video systems like Milestone, Vigilon, ExactVision, and so forth, you can also opt to have a built-in VMS as part of the control platform, which is entirely scalable and fault tolerant. So with that, I'm going to move on to the demo, and I'll thank you very much for your attention. And bear with me.
Thanks, Ron.
You got it. So let's see, has Greg Scarvellis joined?
I don't think Greg is made it to the room.
Okay, let's pull it up here. Just bear
So this
with
is
me.
Jason.
yeah.
I'll go ahead and I'll take over, and Greg can steal the screen for me if he's able to log back in. So thank you so much, Ron. That was a great PowerPoint. I think you did a bang up job of reviewing the organization as a whole. And what I'm going to be primarily focused on is Symphonia Control. This is our all-encompassing platform that Ron has described, where you don't necessarily have to use our VMS system. We can use any VMS system, along with any other type of physical security device or sensor that your security organization or your maintenance organization might be leveraging today. What you're seeing on the screen is the dashboard element of Symphonia Control, which incorporates several different tiles, giving a high-level overview of the performance of the organization. So as an example, we can see the total current active alarms. Certainly hope your organization doesn't have 127 alarms all going off at once. The incidents per type, the active alarms by service level agreement. So, how many alarms are within our target range of our own internal goals, and how many are currently at risk, how many incidents are unresolved, and if we're way out of target, if we're at risk, if we're within target, and also our incidents weekly, our average response times are also included. This could be on a big screen, inside of your security operations center, or an administrator might want to have this just running on their workstation to, once again, to reiterate, to get that macro level overview of the performance of the security operations center. The next function is our assets tab. And as Ron had mentioned, everything is GIS based. That means that all of your cameras and devices, such as your access control panels, intrusion panels, all of your cameras, any building management sensors, so maybe temperature gauges, they're all going to be layered onto a GIS map. And as you see me doing right now, as I zoom in, we get the floor plan of this one floor building. If this was a multiple floor building, as I zoom in, we will go to each subsequent floor. And as I zoom out, everything is going to be on that Esri GIS map. So if you are running a global operation, this is a global security operations center, I can have cameras and devices spread throughout the entire world, spread throughout specific buildings, all within one GIS layer. And if I double click on any one of these, I'll immediately be brought to that location. And if I click on any one of those devices, such as a camera, I can get that video preview as well, which is really nice. So the purpose of putting everything onto a GIS layer is to vector all of your devices to alarms. So in one panel, as you're seeing on the screen right now, we've got all of our alarms coming in from very specific locations. And if I double click on any one of these alarms, automatically every device that is vectored to that location is going to automatically display for me in our video tab. And I'll also get the video preview at the exact same time. So whereas in legacy systems where you have your VMS on one screen, your access control on another, maybe you have like a Senstar system on another monitor, if you have, that fence line alert go off, you'd have to memorize the camera tree, go into your VMS, recall the correct cameras, display that on one monitor, and you don't really understand what's happening with the other systems at the same time. Whereas if all of these subsystems are brought into Symphia Control, they're all mapped to each other and they all make sense. So as an example, with this perimeter intrusion alarm that I just opened up, I've got the fence line sensor as well as the fence line camera already mapped together. I've got a video screenshot already captured for me. I can start to take more snapshots. I can start to record short video clips, and it's all going to be available to me in an instant. Now, let's say this alarm turns out to be something significant. This isn't like, an animal that may have, gotten close to the fence. It's an actual human that is attempting to jump the fence or has jumped the fence. At this point, I will want to escalate this alarm to an actual incident. And all the operator has to do is right-click on that alarm and select Create Incident. At this juncture, we can define exactly what the situation is that's currently happening. So let's say this is definitely an intrusion situation. This is an intrusion incident. It's of a critical severity. I can create that different category, and then I can initiate a response plan that is relevant to the situation that I'm currently dealing with. So we'll select intrusion detected. By default, when I create this incident, the system will automatically put a very basic incident description in there. I have the option as the operator to begin to add additional information as well. So this is a dynamic field. At this point, I will accept the incident as the owner. So now I'm going to take myself offline from alarm monitoring and into incident management, and then I'll go ahead and I will escalate it. When I escalate it, it's going to come up to the top of the incident queue that supervisors and other operators can access as well. So I see Greg just joined. Do you want to take my scenario from here and continue on, or do you want me to keep going? Okay. So at this point, I've got this incident at the top of the queue, and I have a response procedure that's presented to me as the operator. So this is a very important component of the software. So Ron had mentioned a binder that would be on the desk of, where the operators are sitting. And typically when a situation is evolving, they go to the binder, they go to the index, they try to, define exactly what's happening. They find the standard operating procedure, and then they have to manually perform all these different actions. So we are completely replacing that and adding some automation. So in this situation, we need to email the security director. This has automatically occurred. I need to log details of the incident. So I'll go ahead and write more information. So I recognize this individual, this nefarious individual, as a previous employee. And my colleague has already called local law enforcement. That's going to be log data and timestamped. In the next procedure, we have the option of saying if this is a known person or if we don't know this person. So in this situation, yeah, we know who this person is, but this is a former employee or a nefarious individual. So I'm going to go ahead and select no, and then I will then be prompted to complete several other procedures. So the first procedure that the system wants us to do is to actually dispatch security. So if I were to click this button, we will automatically send all the details of this incident to the most relevant first responders, those folks that can actually come to the location of that alarm and provide some type of intervention for the situation. So all that information is going to pop up on their mobile apps. We can see them move there in real time. They're going to have a form to fill out. They can take pictures. They can capture video. They can do a lot of very interesting things. The next thing
that's a great point. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think, when we talk about security operating procedures and the black binders that are on the desk, the common exceptions that occur in an environment are easily handled. Operators, dispatchers, they know what to do. But by having a response procedure presented in those unusual situations, again, heaven forbid there's an active shooter or some other type of crime, violent crime, where you're not necessarily practiced at that type of response, if we can keep our dispatchers and operators from panicking long enough to follow a response procedure, it really will empower them and give them the confidence to respond effectively. So it makes a big difference having this information at hand, immediately available. And it's really the answer to, and then what? What do you do when an incident comes in that isn't part of your normal everyday routine? How do we respond without having instructions presented? And the association of the devices that you mentioned makes it much more effective for a new operator or dispatcher than having to learn where every camera is throughout the enterprise. They can simply look at a map, follow a person through a facility, see what other doors might be in that area. It's a very effective tool to bring people up to speed in an operations center very quickly and reduce the training time.
That's some really good points, Ron. Reducing the training over, the training time, getting operators, in the seat so they can start responding to events. These are all pretty critical things. And to reiterate, it's all about simplifying things, reducing the complexity, which creates human error. And that's the primary goal of implementing software like this. And that also includes bridging the communication gap between the security operations center and the first responder. So continuing through the scenario, if I were to hit dispatch security, automatically we're going to notify all the responders on that mobile app that I just described to you. So you can see my screen here. This is what the mobile app looks like. We've got the intrusion alarm. Unfortunately, I have a pretty far response time to Bend, Oregon here, or Prineville, Oregon. But all that information, that initial information you saw in the incident description, it's going to be displayed for me here. And if I click on this en route button, we will send that information back to the operator that's sitting in front of some FIA control, and they can see that timestamp saying that Jason Goldberg, security officer, is currently en route. And to the benefit of the officer, let's say I'm responsible for a large campus, I can go in and I can get turn-by-turn directions with whatever navigation app is going to be easiest for me. So if I like Waze or Google Maps or Apple Maps, all I need to do is click on that button, and we will import the latitude, longitude of that incident directly into that mobile application. And if I wasn't 2,780 miles away, it'd probably be a lot faster. So Ron, I'll get there in about 39 hours. Is that all right?
Take your time, Jason.
Okay. So there's a lot of other great information available to me as well. So as a first responder, if I click on info, I can see that my colleague Greg, he's a security officer. He's already on scene. And I can also see that this incident occurred at the data center right now. So we talked to responder. So they don't have to reach for their binder anymore. They just go right in the application. Everything that's relevant is automatically going to pop up for them. Additionally, I can chat with all the other responders as well as the operator that's sitting in the security operations center. So Ryan talked about push to talk. We can speak verbally, but we can also have this, very, quiet chat that's available in the application. It's also going to log date and timestamp every interaction that we're having. So when Greg wrote, "Hey, I'm already on scene at 13:30," that's going to be part of the official incident record. And when I do get on scene, I will automatically be brought to a form that I need to be filling out as a security officer. And all the information that I'm filling out here is going to be shared with the operator using some FIA control. So if I found out that it's a perimeter breach and I go ahead and I take a picture of maybe the fence that had been partially cut, or maybe we have an arrest, local law enforcement got there, they arrested them, I want to take a picture of their report that they're filling out, I can go ahead and do that. And on top of all those things I just described, I can continue to provide situational awareness to the Security Operations Center by streaming live video back into some FIA control. So not only do you have that fence line video and video from other cameras that are statically placed, but I also have the video and the audio from the perspective of the responding security officers as well.
And that all becomes part of the record of the incident too, Jason, correct? So the video
That's
from the
absolutely
responder's mobile device? Yes.
We're going to attach all those screenshots that I took, the short clips that I captured, along with the video that was streamed to the Security Operations Center in the incident record. So it's all going to be there for you. Additionally, as we start to wrap up this incident, I can go ahead and write up an incident summary, and then this will officially become one incident report that can be retrieved with everything that we've just described. The short video clips, the video that I streamed as a first responder, the screen captures, everything that's been log dated and timestamped is all going to be available in a court admissible record. So I can say local PD made an arrest, trespass also issued, closed out. I do that, and now we've wrapped up the incident. We can go ahead and get it closed now.
Oh, we just had a question from the audience, a great question regarding, is the information stored on the device or is it captured someplace else?
Hey, that's a great question. So the information on the mobile app is not stored on the device. This is a very important thing to note, because if there is some type of investigation, the device itself can't be subpoenaed. So all the information that's being captured by the first responder is only stored on the server, and no information is going to be saved on the device itself.
Great. So you don't need to capture that actual device. Everything is stored in the cloud and becomes part of the incident.
Are there any other questions?
Not at this time. Thank you, Jason.
Excellent.
But I did want to chime in. That is an important piece from a security aspect, that we're not storing the video that's being captured while you're using the mobile device, or any of that is not something that someone could then take and forward in an email from their mobile phone or anything like that. Or if that mobile phone is lost, that data is not accessible unless they have the right credentials. But even then, they still can't take it off the phone.
Great. No problem, Thomas. Or yeah, Thomas. So so that's basically how you would take a very basic alarm and escalate it all the way to an incident where we're capturing all different types of information. Once again, the video, video taken from the first responders, also capturing information as part of a response procedure, and the form that security officers would be filling out. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and transition over to Greg, who's going to take over the demo from here.
Yeah, and I just wanted to finish off that incident. So as Jason walked you through the life cycle of that event, and you finished your incident, and now you've created that final report that he was working on. Here's a sample of what that report looks like. So I can create this incident summary that has all the details from a particular incident, includes the logbook that shows every task that was completed by the operator, as well as the dispatch task that went out to the now forced responders who responded to the incident. All of that is time date stamped on here. And then in addition, you've got all those attachments that Jason was showing you. All of those attachments are actually here in this PDF, and actually hyperlink, so that when I click on them, it's going to go up, and if it's a snapshot, show me the snapshot. If it's a video, a snapshot, it's going to play that back within Windows Media Player or some other associated media player that's available. So all that data, very easy to export out of the system. It's packaged in a nice PDF that then you could send on as needed. As you can see, what I think is nice here is Jason was logged in, and I was logged in to the same Synfia Control operator client. So I was logged in over here in Oregon, Jason's in Colorado, and I was actually able to collaborate with Jason while he was working on this. And so I could actually add information into this incident. Maybe I received a phone call and I wanted to type that data in. So it allowed me very easily to be able to access all that data and also collaborate with Jason as he was working that incident. Now, once you've worked with the incident, maybe you want to actually go in and manage some video, right? So not only can we work within the system just from an incident management, alarm, event management, managing that whole life cycle of the event. Also, we have a fully capable VMS interface here that not only works with our VMS, but works with any third-party VMS that we've integrated to or that we integrate to in the future. So it's a universal video interface that's fully featured, from live video to recorded video access. You can see here I have a timeline that allows me to quickly go back to the motion that's going on in the scene on here. Let's say it's I'm going to my camera tree and I'm going to find a 360 camera, and I'm bring that 360 camera up. That allows me now to manage that 360 degree camera once it comes up here. and then I'll be able to actually stream that video, but also dewarp the image. And you'll notice the video quality here initially is rather low, and that's because we have the ability within our VMS to do bandwidth management. All right. So as a remote user, I can tailor how much bandwidth I'm using at any given time and reduce the quality of the video as it's being streamed as needed. You can see here, I've got a 360 camera that I'm treating just like a normal PTZ, fully dewarped, or I can go in and I could change these into a quad view and treat each individual stream as needed. So again, very capable VMS interface. And it's not only our VMS, we integrate to other third-party VMS systems like Milestone, Vigilon, etc. And it's very easy with our Symphia Connect component, which is our integration back layer. That layer allows us to very easily integrate to another third-party VMS, and we can actually bring in, if they have special video controls, all of that, we actually bring their player controls right into our interface. So that way you don't lose the functionality. If your user might have an existing VMS, but you're layering Symphia control on top, we want to give them a very similar look and feel on how they manage their video in that VMS, and that gives you the ability to do that. Now,
That's a great point. That's a great point, Greg. Again, simplification, making sure that users are comfortable with a single interface. They only have to learn one client. They don't have to learn 3 or 4 different systems, and as systems evolve and change over time, they'll still be working within the same UI and have the same experience regardless of the subsystems that they're having to manage.
Exactly. And while you're working with video, you have all these tools available, and you can see here you have the many of the standard tools that come with a VMS, like image snapshots, attaching going to tools and doing bookmarks, searching for motion on here. So you can see we have a lot of nice features, but also because now you're connected to a GIS enabled mapping interface, if I want to know exactly where this camera is on the map, I click that, it takes me right to the map. And now here's my location of that camera. Yep, that's the camera I was looking for. So again, as an operator that's new to the organization, if I am not familiar with where cameras are located, I don't have to hunt and peck. I could go back to my interface here, and I could pick any of these cameras and tell it, oh yeah, show me where that is on the map, and it's going to take me right to that location of where that camera is. So very easily can I come in and be very effective at my job with a short ramp up time that many operators, it could take 6 months to a year to get familiar with an interface and be effective. In this case, because I have this unified interface that you're looking at here, this unified security system, I'm able to very easily manage. Now, while you're managing video, you'll notice I have multiple tabs. I can click and add as many tabs, up to 8, that is, that I need. And each one of these tabs I can tear off. So this is a fully configurable interface. You'll see I have a bunch of different tabs. Me as an administrator, I can tear these off and take them over to another monitor if I wanted to. And obviously, I can only show you one monitor at a time. But the concept is that I could create my own little personal video wall if I want. I might have a big screen in front of me that's a 55-inch or 60-inch monitor. I could drag one up there so I can have really full-size video, and I might want to spread across and have my alarms on one panel, incidents on another, and et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of capability that you have in the VMS. And just couple other little things in the VMS. You have your views that allow you to have pre-configured views that save the cameras and the layouts, the tile layouts, so you can very quickly get to different camera views that are available in your system. You can favorite cameras. So if you're working with a system that has thousands of cameras, you might want to save the ones that you reference and use a lot in your system, and very easily you can save those. You'll notice as I hover over each one of these, it's very easy to get a little snapshot so I know whether that's the right camera I'm looking for, etc. If I right click on the camera, I can easily go to a recorded stream just by clicking on the button. If I wanted to search for motion, as an example, I click search for motion, and it would actually take me to the search for motion interface. And in this interface is now going to allow me to select the camera. There you go. There's my camera. And then I can select the region of interest that I want to use. And once I have all that set up, I tell it to search. And it's going to go through and it's going to find all the motion that's going on within the system. And when it finds that, it's going to pop up, and I might need to adjust my settings to make sure it catches. So I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to take that up real quick just for time's sake. And it's going to go through and give me a snapshot of every object that was seen or person that was seen going through this window. I click that, and it's going to play back that video for me. What's nice about this is it's going to play back the video, and then while I'm playing it back, and you notice it's buffering kind of like a YouTube because I'm remote, so it's making sure it's giving me the high quality video. So it's buffering that video temporarily, and then once it's buffered enough of it, it will start playing. Obviously, if I was local and this was full streaming live video, it wouldn't be buffering on that. Now, while I'm watching that, I can export this video direct from here. I can create a bookmark in here, and I can actually attach the video to an incident. So I could go in and click attach incident, and I could attach it to any existing incident that's currently open. So I wanted to say, all right, related business with suspect, and I might enter more detail here. And then I've just added that now to the incident that was in exist, or maybe that's exactly the person or the shot that I needed. I want to export that video, and here I would be able to go and export this right to the cloud. And so I'm dropping this into my OneDrive. And by dropping that into my OneDrive now, I can export that directly up into the cloud and then share that out to either internal or external sources. I can select a format that's either the Synfia protected format or a standard unprotected AVI or MP4 in there. I can protect it with a password. So now it's actually going to add a password on top. So even with an MP4, I wouldn't be able to open it without that password. I can adjust my time date duration, all of that, and then hit export. So very easily, I can get this video off site or up to a cloud and off to someone for an investigation. Right? Yeah. Oh, did I thought I
fantastic tools. In summary, with respect to control, we look at this again, as Greg mentioned, as a tab solution. We start on the left with the assets tab. The first thing we notice is we're putting all of our devices, our card readers, our alarm points, panic buttons, cameras, our responders, they're all on the map. Makes it very easy to access and search either by location, name, or individual asset. Those assets are typically creating alarms. So we move to the alarm tab, and as those assets create alarms, they'll show up, and it doesn't matter what system they come from. As security professionals, we manage lots of systems. We manage access control systems, video, fire, panic. They'll all come into one user interface. So the operator, as I mentioned earlier, only has to learn one product, one interface to be effective at their job. These alarms can either be immediately dispatched or escalated to incidents. That incidents tab, as we discussed, provides us with a robust security operating procedure for each incident type. We have a bunch of canned incidents, but we can also import any of those security operating procedures that your teams are accustomed to. And again, the video tab, really the heart of any system. So we can do video verification of all of these alarms. It will look consistent across all of your sites, regardless of the type of video system you have. They'll all come in, they'll all be unified in this one interface. And even video from multiple systems across multiple time zones can be brought up, synchronized, played back. Again, very, very useful tool. And with that last mile of now force and being able to dispatch out to our emergency response people with very specific instructions, selecting the right people based on their credentials, their location, get the right people on site as quickly as possible. And that really is the end game. It's resolving that question of, and then what? When the alarm comes in, how do we respond? How do we save time? So that was the demo of the control interface, which is our security operation platform for the Intelligent Security Operations Center.
It's great stuff, Ron. And Greg, thank you so much. It's obviously refreshing to see something with so much power and then ease of use, which is really what we're all striving with technology these days and so forth. We can kind of move. Is there anything else you want to touch on, Greg, or?
No, I think we covered everything. I wanted to leave a little time for questions as they come up here.
Okay. And David, is there any questions, or Keith, that came in during the presentation?
Don't see any other questions in the chat. So we can open up to the group. Does anybody online here have any questions for us? Well, Walter, I'll start you off with one. In terms of deployment, is this an on-prem server? Is this a cloud solution, a VM? What's the best way to deploy this?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer that. This is Greg here. Let me turn on my camera so people can see my wonderful face. Yeah, so our solution is capable of being deployed in most scenarios, and what I mean by that is it can be on-prem with customer or supplied hardware, or we can provide that hardware. We also offer certificate. We're certified in the virtualization world, so VMware certified. We test all of our systems in virtual environments before the release, so we're certified all the way up to the latest VMware versions. Also, we work with Hyper-V as well, so we can get deployed out in those virtualized environments. A significant amount of our customers typically deploy in virtualized environments, so we have a lot of experience with that, gaining the scale that you get from that. Same with the cloud environment. While we deploying VMS in the cloud at an enterprise level is typically not recommended from the video streaming, just due to bandwidth and all of that. We do support it at the management server level, and with Sophia Control being deployed in the cloud is not an issue. That's something that we've done as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Anyone else? David, is there anything else on your mind?
Well, I was going to re-ask my first question from earlier today. I think I've worded it better though. All right, so we've been talking about the technology, and it's impressive. But I wanted to take a step backwards and ask about the need for the technology. So what drives the need? So our industry is driven by reactive attitudes. And my assumption is that virtually all of our clients have disparate systems. I mean, it seems impossible that they wouldn't. So how do you justify the additional expense of something you've already invested in without it being driven by an unfortunate incident?
No, that's a good question. I like the way you answered it this time. I think a lot of that has to do. I think a lot of that has to do with the changing landscape of how organizations are managing their assets. Right. What we're seeing a lot in the industry now is these global security operations centers. If they didn't have one, they are building one. Organizations are starting to build one, and if they do have one, they're looking at how they can be more efficient, right? And so with what we showed you today was all about efficiency, right? Sophia Control is all about making your operation more efficient. If I have one system I can look at that allows me to manage an event from beginning to end, as opposed to looking at 4 or 5 in different systems. One, I've made my operator more efficient, right? And 2, it's easier to administrate, while we're not eliminating all those other systems, right? So we're keeping your investment you made in your access control and your intrusion. We're not telling you got to rip and replace that and use our interface. That's not the way. What we're saying is layer this on top, and it's not just going to do what your original systems did. It's actually going to take them and make them better. You're going to respond faster, right, to an incident. You're going to work more efficiently because now you're looking at one screen, one interface, and that's going to make your operation run a lot smoother, because now you have one place to go for the data that you're trying to access, the assets you're trying to access. And a lot of them may not have ever had a GIS enabled map either. And so adding that piece of it, the visualization layer, adds this other component that they're not familiar with, that they're a lot of our organizations would go in and they might have had a map in a CAD system that's tucked away in the corner where they were doing emergency response, but their normal operators with the video system, they didn't have a GIS enabled map. They're not familiar with that. And now all of a sudden they can visualize everything that's going on in their operation. And I think that's really important. I don't know, Ron, if you had any more to add to that.
Yeah, one of the things I think about often is the fact that businesses have invested tremendous amount of money in GIS mapping. Airports, campuses, pharmaceuticals, everything is GIS mapped. And that investment can be leveraged by the security team to make their operations much more efficient. And oftentimes those GIS departments are looking for new ways to use that investment. So for airports, for hospitals, the information is there, and the security people, us security people for the past 20 years seem to be the last one to get the resources. But today we're becoming much more effective, and we're able to use, with these type of technologies, the cutting edge investment that the businesses have made. I would also say too that the response time and lowering response time to incidents has huge effects on premise liability, on responding to incidents, medical emergencies, intrusions. And that last part about the ability to have a NowForce reporter, the personal safety app, when you can deploy that, and it's pennies a year per user, it's incredibly inexpensive, but what it does is it gives you the ability to crowdsource. Now, rather than have cameras being added everywhere, you actually empower your employees, your students, your associates to see something, say something. They become part of your security ecosystem bidirectionally. They can share the video from their mobile device to the command center, and you can message your students, your employees, directly from the control client to let them know that there might be somebody on campus to look out for, to shelter in place, or simply that the business is closed for the day due to snow or something. So yeah, I think we consolidate systems, we can remove systems that are ancillary, we can simplify dispatching. Most dispatch applications are so complex that your average operator is not even going to invest the time in learning it. They're just going to call an extension. So making things easy, automating things, presenting the relevant information of an alarm to an operator can save the number of operators we need, the number of responders we need. And those are where we create efficiencies, David, that save money, that justify the cost of our solution.
What does a company do that doesn't have a piece of software like this? I mean, is it just a hot mess, or are there other solutions?
I think you saw that image I showed of the command center, and it's too often that's the case. And it takes a large investment mentally, physically, financially to change that in some cases. There's so much old technology layered on old technology. But we find when we go into these environments, those joysticks on the desk, they can disappear. The big red phone can disappear. The radio can disappear. The amounts of money they spend on master antenna systems, maintenance for those systems, the radios, a $3,000 radio with GPS, and we can give somebody an $80 phone with all the technology they'd ever need in it. That's where we see the savings.
Okay. We do have a question in the chat from Thomas Logan. Have you integrated into law enforcement? We have security and law enforcement in our market having to be governed by CJIS and incident-based reporting requirements.
Yeah, we've integrated to some incident reporting solutions that flow through to law enforcement. That's actually something that's big interest for us, is to continue that. Obviously, every market that we work in, and specifically every customer, is going to have a different law enforcement agency. So it just depends, right? Now, obviously, we also have a facial recognition product that we utilize, and we can and we've integrated to law enforcement databases for their information regarding faces and all of that to bring into our facial recognition. But at this level, I think the two key pieces I see for sharing data to law enforcement is video sharing, right? Which that comes up occasionally, and we have an API that allows us to do that, to provide secure video sharing. And then it's a matter of how do we get incident data, like we were just talking about, directly uploaded to a sharing mechanism for law enforcement to access. And we do a lot in the retail world, and actually we've been working with a couple different incident investigation tools to where we can directly upload our incident data into their cloud-based tools. So then that provides secure access to law enforcement. I'm not sure if that answered the question, but those are some of the areas that we're working with law enforcement on that.
Thank
All
you.
right, we've got about 2 minutes left. Any other questions from the group? Ron, Greg, or Walter, anything you guys want to say in closing?
I think I'm good right now, and no, I appreciate everyone joining us today. It's been great, and we'll look forward to any follow-ups that we can help and assist anyone with, and let us know when you want to put one of these together again, and we'll be happy to accommodate. It's it's always great to get out and talk to people, as we all know, and hopefully everyone's going away today with some more information and understanding of what Cynthia Control does and now Force, and how we can simplify systems and save lives moving forward.
Great. Well, thanks very much to the Intellicene team. For those of you on the call, if you have any questions, you want to hear some more from Intellicene, I'm the one who sent out the invites to everybody, so feel free to reply to me and I'll get you in touch with the right folks. So thanks everybody for your participation. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Great. Thank you so much
Thanks,
again,
everyone.
Keith.
Thanks.
Okay, David.
Bye-bye.
You guys have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.